Before Adanne became the dutiful wife and mother that society expected of her, she was a woman with dreams. Born and raised in Enugu, she had always been a star. She was the only daughter of her parents, raised with the same vigor and expectations as her 4 older brothers. Her father, a university professor, encouraged her love for literature, while her mother, a retired school principal, ensured she understood the importance of discipline and resilience. From a young age, Adanne displayed a rare talent for storytelling. She would gather the neighborhood children under the big mango tree and reenact folk tales, each character brought to life with a different voice and exaggerated expressions. Her talent only blossomed further when she joined her secondary school's drama club, earning praise from teachers and peers alike. At the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, she pursued a degree in theater arts, fully immersing herself in the world of performance. Her roles in school productions were nothing short of mesmerizing, her presence so commanding that Nollywood scouts began to take notice. By the time she was 23, she had landed her first major role in a critically acclaimed film. Offers poured in, and with each successful project, her name gained recognition. Adanne had dreams, grand dreams. She envisioned herself winning international awards, starring in roles that would redefine African cinema. Her passion was unyielding, and she had no intention of letting anything stand in her way. But then, she met Obinna. He was charming, ambitious, and utterly devoted to her, or so she believed. A young entrepreneur struggling to build his real estate business, he was not yet wealthy, but he carried himself with the confidence of a man who knew his future would be bright. Obinna pursued Adanne relentlessly, showering her with love letters, surprise visits, and grand promises. He spoke of their future in ways that made her feel seen, valued, and cherished. When he proposed, he held her hands and told her, "Marriage is the greatest role a woman can play. What is fame if you have no home, no legacy?" He convinced her that a successful home was more fulfilling than a successful career. He promised her stability, love, and partnership. At first, Adanne believed she could have both. But Obinna's jealousy began to show. He didn't like the way men admired her. He frowned at her movie roles, especially when they involved romantic scenes. He complained about the way she dressed, saying it was too revealing, too attention-seeking. He made subtle comments at first, then they became demands. "A wife should dress modestly," he would say. "You don't need the world looking at what belongs to me." His possessiveness grew, and with every argument, he chipped away at her confidence, making her feel guilty for enjoying her career. He made her choose between their love and her dreams. Adanne hesitated. She loved acting, but she also loved Obinna. She had grown up believing that a woman could have it all, but here was the man she loved, asking her to choose. She made the decision that seemed most noble. For love, she gave it all up. And so, for love, she gave it all up. Adanne's life became the kind that women were told to aspire to, married to a successful man, raising 2 children in a well-furnished home in Lagos, loved by all who knew her. Yet, beneath the surface, her sacrifices were many. She had endured the financial hardships, in the early years when Obinna struggled to keep his business afloat. The long nights of uncertainty, and the whispered doubts from friends who warned her against trusting too much. But she had faith in her husband, in their love. She stayed up late, helping him draft proposals, organizing his paperwork, offering words of encouragement when deals fell through. She played hostess to his business partners, dressed in elegance and grace, making the right impressions that helped seal his biggest contracts. As his wealth grew, so did the distance between them. Where once they had shared dreams, now he barely spoke of his work to her. The man who had begged her to be his queen now treated her as if she were an ornament in his palace, admired but ignored. The first sign of betrayal came subtly, late-night phone calls that ended abruptly when she entered the room, hushed conversations that ceased when she came near. Then came the business trips to London, stretching longer than planned. The money flowed in more steadily, but when she asked about the sudden change, his answers were vague. Whispers began to find her. Gossip pages hinted at a wealthy businessman with 2 lives. Friends gave her knowing looks, their pitying glances heavy with unspoken truths. But it wasn't until she found the pictures, buried deep in his laptop, that the truth became undeniable. A woman and 2 children. His real family. The one he had built while she remained a dutiful wife, none the wiser. She sat frozen, her fingers trembling as she scrolled through image after image. The woman was beautiful, with soft curls and a delicate smile, the kind of woman Obinna used to say he admired. And the children, her children's half-siblings, looked just like him. She could no longer deny what had been staring her in the face for years. The man she had loved and sacrificed everything for had been living a double life. But Adanne did not cry. She did not rage. Instead, a cold fire settled in her chest, burning away the last of her love. Obinna had made a fool of her, and she would make a ghost of him. Adanne knew that ordinary revenge wouldn't be enough. Divorce would only free him. A scandal would be fleeting. No, Obinna deserved something far worse, something that would unravel his very existence. She needed a force greater than herself, something older and darker than mere human justice. She traveled to her father's village in Anambra, deep in Igbo land, where the ancient shrine of Nneni Mmiri, the water goddess, stood. The old ways were nearly forgotten in Lagos, but here, in the silent depths of the forest, power still thrived. The Dibia, a frail but powerful old man, studied her as she knelt before him. "You are a woman scorned and you seek vengeance," he said, his voice a mere whisper. "Are you willing to pay the price?" "I am," she answered without hesitation. The ritual was performed under the full moon. The Dibia invoked the spirits, calling upon the ancient forces that thrived in the waters. As Adanne stood barefoot in the river, the cold biting into her skin, she felt something shift in the air, as if unseen eyes had turned upon her. "The debt is paid," the Dibia murmured, pressing a charm into her hand. "He will not escape what is coming." Obinna noticed the change in Adanne immediately. She was too calm, too knowing. She no longer questioned his absences or demanded explanations. And then, the nightmares began. At first, they were small things. A whisper in the dark. Shadows moving in the corners of his vision. He woke up gasping for breath, certain that someone had been pressing down on his chest. Then, objects started shifting. His shoes moved to different locations, his keys disappearing only to reappear in places he swore he hadn't been. The air in their home grew thick, suffocating. Even his business partners began to withdraw, uneasy in his presence. He tried to dismiss it, to tell himself it was stress. But when his UK wife called him, sobbing, saying she had received a call from an unknown number, a call where she could hear only the sound of children crying, he knew something was terribly wrong. Adanne watched him unravel, a quiet smile playing on her lips. Obinna's world crumbled piece by piece. His bank accounts drained inexplicably. His business collapsed under the weight of failed deals and mysterious betrayals. Friends abandoned him, whispering about misfortunes following him like a curse. His UK wife fled with their children, terrified of the strange occurrences that plagued their home. Even his mistresses disappeared, their numbers suddenly disconnected. He sought help from pastors, from self-proclaimed prophets, even from desperate juju men in hidden alleys. But nothing worked. His prayers remained unanswered, his money useless against whatever force had entwined itself around him. One night, he awoke to find himself unable to move, a weight pressing him into the mattress. Shadows crept across the walls, whispering in voices he recognized. His own voice, his own lies, repeated back to him. Then, a figure stepped forward. "Adanne, you were my world," she said softly. "Now, you are my plaything." Obinna did not die. No, death would have been a mercy. One by one, everything that made him who he was disappeared. His wealth, his pride, his reputation, all stripped away. He became a hollow man, a shadow of himself, feared and pitted by those who once envied him. And then, one morning, he woke up and found that his reflection was gone in the mirror. He screamed, but no sound came out. His body still moved, but he was empty, hollow, a man whose soul had been caged in the depths of the river where Adanne had made her pact. Lagos forgot him. Some say he was found wandering the streets, muttering to himself, forever lost in a nightmare only he could see. Others believe the spirits took him, dragging him into the abyss as punishment for his sins. As for Adanne, she did not return to the woman she had once been. She was something else now, something untouchable. She left Lagos with her children, her eyes filled with the wisdom of one who had seen beyond the veil. And if one listened closely at night, they might hear a faint whisper on the wind, a warning to all men. Never betray a woman who gave you her all, because indeed, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.